Hi, everyone. This is Noriko Yokoi with our LinkedIn Live. And I'm so excited about today's live conversation. I'm delighted to welcome Meghna Deshraj, founder and CEO of Bullzeye Growth Partners, a strategic growth consultancy that helps startups, mid-market companies, healthcare organizations, and private equity-backed businesses accelerate growth through smarter go-to-market strategies. Meghna is a growth strategist, a member of the Forbes Business Council, and the creator of the Bullzeye 3D framework and growth partner framework. She advises executive teams on scaling operations, aligning marketing with business outcomes, and navigating growth in rapidly changing markets. More recently, Meghna has been writing and speaking about one of the biggest shifts facing marketers today, the rise of AI, zero-click search, and what it means to build brands in a world where buyers are increasingly getting answers from AI before they ever visit a website. Today, we'll explore what it's really like to be a modern CMO, how AI and AI search are changing the marketing playbook, and what leaders need to do to drive growth in an increasingly fragmented and AI-driven landscape. Hi, Meghna. Welcome.
Hi, Noriko. Thank you for such a lovely introduction.
Well,
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. So excited about today's conversation. Well, I want to just jump in right away and ask you this question that is a burning question on many people's minds. You know, the CMO role has never been more complex. I want to ask you, what does it actually feel like to be a modern CMO in 2026? And I know you posted about it today on LinkedIn, so I want to put it up on stage as well as we're talking about it. Okay. So tell me, what does it feel like to be a modern CMO?
Very chaotic, but so it's very hard for us as in like me and other CMOs, right? Marketing may control the message, but the product influences the offer. The finances influences the pricing. Your sales controls your conversion, and operation delivers the promise. And the customer success affects your attention. But marketing is responsible if none of the others perform. So what I call it is a growth authority gap. We don't control any outcome, but we're responsible for it. So as a modern CMO, it's not just about simply making the just managing the marketing. The modern CMO is basically that integrates and enable the growth, connecting the dots. So I would say it's chaotic until we know and figure out and get the access to control the outcome. We need to make sure that all of the function works.
It seems like you don't have a very clear control over marketing, but that it's spread in many different directions. So what does that mean in terms of your success metric, your even the way that you manage teams and who you're actually responsible for, and what actually happens in a situation like that from a CMO perspective?
In good old days, we were responsible for campaigns, right? Campaigns, you write, you just create a lot of content, and you have leads, and you generate those things. But it's no longer responsible only for, but we're not no longer just responsible for the campaigns, content creation or the lead generation, right? Our new role touches the market strategy, the customer insight, how we position the brand, pricing, sales conversation, customer experience, technology, retention, and revenue. Retention is also very important for us because it creates the trust. CMO sits between the market that wants and what the company can credibly deliver. So the question is simply no longer how do we promote this, right? The questions that we need to start asking is, are we targeting the right market? Is the offer strong enough? Is the price aligned with your value? Can the sales convert into demand? Can operations deliver the promise? Can we prove the claims we are making? Because, as I said, like in the first question, right, we're not no longer just running simply campaigns. We need to have accountability on all the aspects so that we can ask the right questions and make sure the outcomes match to it. So the modern CMO is not just an executive who's making marketing louder, right? The modern CMO is making the business very clear, credible, and easy to be chosen by the consumers, by Google, by AI now, right? AI also is kind of a consumer as well because they are consuming our information.
Well, so, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I thought of CMOs, I always thought of CMOs as actually, orchestrating the campaign, orchestrating the agencies. But from the description that you provided, it's almost like you have to orchestrate the internal company team or business units, which is like another layer of complexity. Is that true? Are you managing two sets of groups of people versus, being really focused on one? Is that a good way of describing it?
I would say, I don't want to say we're managing the other aspects of business operations. We're not. But we need to be involved to make sure that the outcome are for each department or work stream is something that aligns with the framework that we are setting the stage for. So for me, the most important is the strategy. Define your strategy for your business, strategy for your work stream, and then ensure that the strategies are accomplished. So I always say I have a 3D framework. So whenever we go into an organization or I work with an organization, I say, okay, I need to start seeing everything in a lens, which I call it a 3D lens. So 3D lens for marketing is I want to differentiate. Is the work that you're going to do is differentiated into something that people can identify you with this particular brand, product, whatever is your result. And then how are you going to disrupt? Is the decision that you're making as a CMO, can we have a campaign that can be basically disrupt the market? If not, let's figure out how we can challenge the outcomes. Then I would say my third D is basically dominate. So once you say you have differentiated, you have disrupted, now once that has been executed perfectly, now it's time for you to dominate. I am not essentially going to manage the individual operations, but I need to ensure that they work in this framework so they can the outcome matches the vision and the goals of the company. Differentiate before you automate, disrupt before you scale, dominate after your system works.
And would you say that this 3D framework is changing because of AI, or what are your thoughts on how you apply it in this age of AI?
I would say AI can scale the system it enters into, but it does not repair it. So you really need to make sure that your functions are working the way it's supposed to work, and you're using AI as a tool. You're not replacing it to. You can absorb the execution part, but judgment is what is your competitive layer, or advantage. So that cannot be replaced. So for me, AI is just a tool.
So when you have differentiate, disrupt, and dominate, where does AI fit into your 3D framework, or does it not at all? Is it more downstream?
So I would say it's downstream, right? So the 3D framework that I have is at a strategy level, which is differentiate, disrupt, and dominate. But I have it on execution layer too, which is design, discover, and deploy. Discover, which is basically, again, you can leverage AI for discovering who your competition is, what is the best thing out there, all of those things. It's more of an execution, right? And then deploy. you can deploy using AI because AI is becoming smarter, right? Claude Code can write so many nice things and create so many programs. Even for non-coders, it can create some fantastic stuff. So I would say AI for me sits at an execution level, not at the strategy level. Strategy has to be by the people who can have some judgment on what exactly we are trying to deliver.
Is there anything that has changed from your perspective because of AI?
I think in the beginning, I would say it became very chaotic. It became very noisy. It's becoming very clear now that how we can use, as I said, like I've broken down my 3D system into two because I figured out that AI cannot be sitting on a strategy level, like judgment layer. It sits on an execution layer. But is it keeping me awake? No, not anymore. In the beginning, yes, it was okay. Because if you go open Instagram or go on any social channels, everybody is saying, "Oh, AI is taking over marketing. We can do everything in marketing." But what they're forgetting is AI is taking the execution part. It's a tool. You still need to know how Noriko feels. And it's a human to human connection. It's a human layer that you cannot have AI replace. So we still are needed in terms of marketing. It has become very essential. Who we have in these roles is what I said, right? It's a competitive edge and it's an advantage. Okay, Noriko is the best person who can make this judgment very viable. She is your secret weapon, or Meghna is a secret weapon, or your CMO is your secret weapon. But AI is something that everybody has. If you start copying the strategies from AI, then think about it. Everybody's copying the strategies.
You said that AI was pretty chaotic in the beginning, whereas things have settled for you. Like, how long did it take for you to get here? And, this isn't a test or anything. This is just about asking you what your experience was. And, part of our LinkedIn Live is all about, unfiltered conversation. So would love to know how long it took and what led you to this aha moment where you were able to put AI in a box of execution versus strategy?
So I would say it took me a good 6 months to kind of settle down with this. We had to get better because AI changes every like 10, 15 days. There's a new AI tool. You cannot ever keep up. It's still, I would say, chaotic at a solopreneur level. If you're a single owner business, you think you don't have the marketing dollars and you do stuff with AI. Still trying to run your business and you're still trying to use AI. You're making it headway, but again, you're forgetting the part that you have to run your business. So from a solopreneur-based business owner perspective, I think it's still very chaotic. They still need to catch up. But on a bigger business scale, like when we work with B2B companies, it is becoming very clear that AI sits an execution layer because they all figured out that it cannot replace human. They can fire 100 people, but somebody needs to be prompting AI. Business, I think, jumped on the bandwagon, saying, "Okay, let's get rid of our marketing teams," and then I think slowly started to realize that another 6 months it's going to be. The past 6 months there has been a difference.
Okay. What about the fact that there's such a fragmentation of just different channels? I mean, how are you sort of managing all of that? There seems to be a new channel popping up everywhere, and it seems like you need eyeballs everywhere. How are you managing that side of the business?
We're heavily relying on AI. So I would say managing channels everywhere falls in my deployment D on the execution part. So we have created agents where, it's like human employee, right? You assign. So if I have like YouTube channel, I have Instagram, I used to have people for each channel. Now I don't need people on those channels, right? I can have one person and an AI employee that can go and run all my channels for me. So you can deploy AI there, and then you can have that one real intelligence person sitting on top to manage all the channels. So bring me 10 more channels. I don't really care because now I have the power. I can run multiple channels with one person. So my AI is pretty good. Give me another 10 channels. I don't really care as long as the AI employee is doing a good job.
Okay.
You just need to figure out a way how to manage your AI. And the person who is managing the AI employees understand what they have, what's their real job. It's not about managing individual Facebook account or TikTok account. It's about, are we sending the right message in each channel? AI employee, rest of it. Heavy lifting.
Right. So you don't have to, provide the names of your clients or anything like that. But if you can think of one of your SMB clients versus a large enterprise client or even a startup client, how many channels are they asking for the deployment of communications? And what sort of conversations are you having about what is optimal or what's not? Is there anything that you recommend to these people?
So small business owners, I think it really depends on what is your business basically. Right? For example, if you're a real estate owner and you want to come in, I would say it's an all channel. So it really depends what your business is. If you're an interior designer, again, LinkedIn is a so focus on Instagram, focus on TikTok, better channels. That's very business. If you're a business coach, LinkedIn is a perfect channel if you are a channel that works with women. So it really depends on what your business is. But if you're a big business, right, if you're a 100 million plus business, all channels need to be active. Unfortunately, you have to be everywhere. You have to invest in all channels. Like for Bullzeye, we have to invest in all channels. Not because we're so big, but that's our bread and butter, right? So we need to make sure our clients know they exist everywhere. So it truly depends on what you do.
So, do you have any specific number of channels that you recommend? Like 2 to 3 channels for small business, 5 to 6 channels for an SMB, or is it not like that?
It's definitely not like that. It really, it really depends on what your business is. For example, I would say at least 2 channels for a small business. I have a construction company that was a single person construction company. They were present on just Facebook and Instagram. They did good. Now they have become bigger with 500 plus employees, right? And making big contracts. Now they need to be on all the channels. I would say whatever channel exists, you need to be there. So it really depends on your size and your niche and what you're offering. If you're a doctor, you've got to be on TikTok for sure. Nobody expects them to be on TikTok, but TikTok, YouTube, Instagram has become very essential for them. But 6 months ago, it wasn't. So it really depends. You really need to basically study the landscape for what your business is.
Market landscape keeps on changing. How does the CMO have to adapt? We talked about the internal sort of challenges, but what about the external? I mean, there's so many new platforms and new disciplines, sub-disciplines that are popping up everywhere. And, marketing as it existed even a year ago is different now. Like, what should a CMO be saying to themselves? Should they be just comfortable with one channel, or are they supposed to be like the master of many channels? And, what do you say to somebody who may be an old school or traditional marketer? What do you say to them?
I would say to the traditional marketer, don't be traditional marketer anymore. You need to be a cross-functional growth leader, not just a channel manager. For channel manager, I have deployed AI and they are my channel managers. They can do the work. And that's what they need to focus on, becoming cross-functional leader. Focus on the strategy, stop focusing on the hands-on work. Execution, as I said, can be deployed by AI, but be the strategic leader. And that's what I would tell them. If you as a CMO tell me that, oh, I hate social media, okay, then just stop, change your role. Because this is not time and day where brand can be recognized without social media, because that's how you penetrate the market. You need to be the big picture person. Do not hate channels. Do not hate TikTok because TikTok is by, Gen Z. No, TikTok is now for everybody. You need to be there. If you're a thought leader, you need to be on LinkedIn. You need to be on Substack, right? If you're a brand that needs recognition, you need to have somebody yelling about your business on Reddit, right? Good PR or bad PR, good words about your business or bad words about your business is still basically marketing. So don't hate channels and don't run channels. Manage them and let AI handle all the channels. Just set the strategies straight. Where you have to be.
Right. I have another question for you. I've spoken to several marketers who sort of complain that, there's such a low bar in marketing. Anyone can jump in and suddenly become a specialist overnight. Do you agree with that?
Oh, yes. A few years ago when I started a marketing company, I suddenly realized that, every fresher who can't find a job is opening a marketing company because there's no barrier to entry. And with AI now, everybody seems to be an expert. Everybody is doing a marketing company. So yes, competition is very very high. And you just have to judge the work. The judgment there, right? Who's making the decision? Do you trust that person? How credible you are? Are you being referenced or are you being cited? Or credible in terms of not just by brands but by but yes, are you being recognized? You need to be there to trust. Otherwise, there's like thousands of people claiming the same thing. But are they delivering? Are they credible? Can you trust them? That's the important question. But as I said, one of my clients reached out to me recently. Is like, how much is your SEO package? I believe my marketer told me we don't need SEO packages anymore. Okay, can you build a house without putting a foundation? If so, then go ahead. I don't want to invest in a house which has no foundation. Because, whenever there is a hurricane or a tornado, that house is gone the first thing, right? It's nothing but a house of nothing. So he's like, okay, what did you just say? And he's like, okay, can I get a marketer from Fiverr for $30? I'm like, sure. Then that's the expectation, right? Then that's what he's going to deliver. Because they can hire anybody from any country. And everybody is an expert. You need to be credible.
Right. Absolutely. We have a few more minutes left, and I want to ask you, looking ahead, 3 years from now, what do you think will define the most successful marketing leaders? Will it be AI expertise, financial discipline, adaptability, or something else entirely?
As I said, the future CMO cannot be your channel manager or execution expert. They are basically a functional growth leader that understand AI. It's an essential part of our life. It's an essential part of your business too, who can understand how your business works. Is your offer right? Somebody who can question you every time you say, okay, I want to launch this product. Can I go ahead and use AI to deploy it? Yes, but is that the right product in that market? That is the CMO of future. who can run your strategy. And it's just not a marketing, it's not just a head of marketing, it's somebody who can run end to end, but not just executive functions. And you can't hold them accountable and hold them responsible for something that they cannot control. So you need to give them some visibility. So it's very important. And yes, AI is the backbone. AI is very essential. The CMOs cannot be successful without knowing what AI can offer.
So, final last words of AI. We haven't really talked about it, but AI search. How important is that?
Very. So you remember the time when everybody used to say, "Oh, my keywords are not ranking on Google." Nobody gives a shit anymore because nobody's clicking on Google anymore. So everybody needs to go and make sure they're visible on AI searches, right? There's a summary on Google on top, right? Are you being recommended there, or are you being visible there? And is AI, when somebody is saying ChatGPT, "Hey, who's this Meghna Deshraj?" Are you being found? So those are very important stuff. I'm not saying that you don't need to worry about Google, because Google will stop putting you in the recommendation. So SEO is still very important, but nobody's clicking. So clicks are irrelevant. It's a zero-click economy now. People used to buy, bot traffic so that they can show their investors that, "Oh, see, so many people are clicking on my searches." Now nobody is clicking on the searches. Only the bots are clicking on the searches. So stop investing money on that, right? And that's what I'm going to tell the investors too. Stop looking in the metrics that, okay, this potential investment is getting so many clicks on their website. It's irrelevant. What you really need to focus is, are you visible on AI searches? Are you being recommended? Are you being trustworthy in AI's eye? And same thing with Google. Google has their own AI as well. So that goes everywhere. AI is essential in searches, very essential for people to invest now. As I said, AI changes every 10, 15 days. There's a new tool, right? So you better get on board now, because it's not going away. People used to say, "Oh, your content is written by AI," or "I don't like it." Okay, stop. Humans have stopped writing a while ago. It's AI. So you need to invest in that. AI tools, AI searches, AI visibility tools, those are the things where you need to invest.
Okay, thanks so much, Meghna, for your time. How can people find you? Like, where do they go to find you if they want to inquire about some of the things that you talked about, or work with you on a marketing project?
So my LinkedIn is Meghna Deshraj. You can find me. I also have a website. It's called meghnadeshraj.com. But my business website is Bullzeye, Bullzeye, global.com.
Well, thank you so much, Meghna. Thank you for your time and for your insights all around the modern CMO. It's definitely a challenging role to have right now, but I'm sure that with Meghna there, everything will be fine.
Absolutely.